Yellow. Oh man, it finally happened. I moved to New Zealand, and now we're playing Outriders, the full game. It is so sick. There's so much I want to cover in this video. I'm going to keep it short because I want to get back to playing immediately. What we plan to go over in this video is how dope the Pyromancer is so far up to World Tier 7, what abilities that I've been using, how weapon crafting works, and some badass boss fights. If you're looking for something specific, I'm going to put timestamps down below for the crafting and little gear information section of this video, as well as tagging the boss fight so you can skip to that as well. Rolling in the background right now, we are at the third location in the game. It is Eagle Peaks. It's very pretty, snowy. You're seeing it in a higher frame count. They finally unlocked the ability to reach the full Xbox Series X potential. Couldn't be more pumped on that. Let's discuss how we got here and what the hell is going on. I have been married to 3 skills: Thermal Bomb, Feed the Flames, and Volcanic rounds. I cannot believe how insanely badass the Volcanic rounds are. The healing ability you get from setting enemies on fire with every Volcanic round shot and then killing them because they are marked is incredible. The build is synergizing incredibly well. I haven't run into too much difficulty. Every time I go up a world tier, it's only been a few times obviously, it gets incredibly difficult in the very beginning, and then you start to find gear that is actually appropriate for your tier level and your character level, and it all works together really well. This build that I am using is the same build that I plotted out in my theory crafting video, which is maximizing your thermal bomb and your anomaly power at all costs, with no points dedicated to anything tankiness, resistances, damage reduction, or anything like that. Focusing primarily on skills and class points that benefit all of your explosive skills. Thermal Bomb and eventually the Volcanic Eruption skill. It is synergizing perfectly with the Volcanic rounds because the Volcanic rounds are going to increase your weapon damage, and the skills in the tree are going to increase your weapon damage every single time you activate an explosive ability. So you're getting thermal bomb damage and you're getting firepower damage, plus burn damage from all of your Volcanic rounds, and a ton of heals from killing everybody who's on fire all the time. You're going to start off in First City, which is right after where you left off in the demo. This is going to be the first major boss type enemy you're going to encounter, and I found that this is just everything I had hoped for. This game has been so fun. I've already played for like 5 hours this morning. Hopefully I don't get branded as a cheater, but that remains to be seen. I just pretend that instead of 132 subscribers, I have 1.32 million, and People Can Fly gave me a key to play early. We're going to chew through all these ads here before we make pressure on the boss in this first little area. Something I'd like to point out is that the difficulty is actually really impressive. Moving right along, after we kill our first Ironclad, we are going to move on to a much prettier version of the same planet. This area is pretty cool. I think First City, they really nailed the aesthetic. They are really trying to show how much the anomaly storms are impacting this entire area, and it's really cool looking. I love the color palette. The biggest thing I was not prepared for when leaving the demo for the full game, the maps are actually a lot more open. The demo really had a lot of corridor type situations. Yes, this game is definitely not pure open world. It isn't just a big ass huge sprawling area, but I found myself surprised at how much space there really was. And why that's important is because I actually really struggled with maintaining choke points to funnel the enemies into. With the Pyromancer using this glass cannon build that I am, as you can tell, my health is very low. I have everything into anomaly power with minimal sustain. The important part of playing a build like this is you got to make sure you're minimizing the avenues where enemies are just going to be lasering you from across the map. So falling back is definitely suggested, especially if you're playing alone and you don't have a tankier class to get up there and sponge all the bullets for you with their beautiful face. Confirm our first kill on a new captain that isn't that guy from Terra Infirma that we've farmed out 500,000 times. But one of the cool things about this more expansive open map and sprawling locales is that it presents just the opportunity to just have so much fun running around and just chewing through enemies. I cannot imagine how cool this would have been on a character like the Devastator, where you don't have to really worry about any sort of actual damage coming in. But running around just murdering all these guys behind their cover and then finding new positions to attack from has been so much fun, and again, a really nice change of pace from the corridor meta that was in the demo. Another thing that I've really taken a liking to in the full game is just how much actual time you're spending in combat. The demo really struggled with keeping people's interest. For those of us who are down to just grind legendaries all day, that was never a problem. But for the average person, there was a lot of time spent just sitting and rotting and doing nothing. I feel like this full game rewards the hell out of you with combat after combat after combat. There's some cutscenes and they're very skippable, so you don't have to really worry about that so much. but the time you spend fighting versus the time you spend transitioning and walking and dying and wiping and then respawning to farm is just so much better, and it is just way more enjoyable. Moving on to another area here in First City, we're going to be demonstrating exactly what I was talking about with the openness of these maps and how they can be very difficult to navigate when you are a very squishy character like I am playing on the Pyromancer. Ideally, I'd prefer to have less health and more anomaly power, but as we're leveling up and leveling up world tiers, it is very difficult to continue to find all max anomaly gear. We have not unlocked crafting yet. You unlocked crafting after you rescue a particular scientist. We're not quite there yet, and we will discuss crafting in a little bit in greater detail. In the full game, the snipers are much more powerful and pose a greater threat to your existence, especially because the areas are bigger and more open. You have less opportunity to YOLO and kill them. Right about now is the time where I finally got my character locked into where I wanted it, had a good understanding of the volcanic rounds and how to synergize that with the bonus damage from activating explosive skills on the Pyromancer. The volcanic rounds do a ton of bonus damage as well as marking targets to kill them to get health, and in combination with your other abilities, it just rocks. I just don't even really know how to fully explain how fun the Pyromancer is. I have basically no desire to play any other characters at this point. This build just keeps getting more and more fun, and I feel like the further I go up the class tree, the stronger it gets, regardless of how high the world tier gets. I haven't had the purples or legendary luck yet so far at this point. I do eventually find some purples, but that's longer down the road. No legendaries yet in the full game, which is a little scary because by the time I called it quits to start making a video, I had pumped in roughly 5 hours and hadn't found a single legendary, so can't wait to see the YouTube videos about people figuring out how to farm them super easily. As you may have noticed, the Pyromancer is still the undisputed GOAT of taking out large groups of enemies in small quarters. Finally, through First City, we are going to have a chance to satiate our bloodthirst with a new enemy species type. These are going to be beasts, and they're reminiscent of the zombie dogs in Call of Duty Zombies. They will detonate if they get close to you. They will detonate if you kill them, so make sure to keep your distance. They don't have a lot of health, so they're quite easy to put down, but the sheer number that spawn in and attack you can get pretty overwhelming at times, particularly if you mess up and they get too close, and next thing you know, they've chipped away a bunch of your health with explosive damage. Really fell in love with this double gun I'm using. It is going to be providing me with a ton of life leech on shots fired, and just like in Zombies, these things spawn a plentiful, making the perfect opportunity for you to line up a bunch of thermal bomb kills with one move and combo it all together with your volcanic rounds. I edited out so many of these things. There are a lot of dogs that you have to chew through. I could tell you the right name for these guys, but they're zombie dogs for me. Lots of variety in this, still popping out new enemies and having a blast murdering the wildlife through all of these different areas and locations. The alpha Perforos are going to be very, very fast. Gonna YOLO rush you. Pretty squishy though, and they certainly can't take 60 rounds of double gun volcanic rounds to the dome. This was the first area I truly struggled with in the full game where I died multiple times. I don't think I need to show that off. I've had plenty of deaths showcased in videos lately, so we'll show the clean version. The riflemen have turned out to be a lot more annoying and powerful than they had been at any point in time through the demo. I'm not exactly sure why that is. It's possible that there's just so many of them that the bullet damage actually starts to add up, but it also feels like they're hurting me a lot more than they had been before. Pay specific attention to what abilities this captain's going to come equipped with. He's going to be rocking my absolute favorite enemy ability, that is Vortex, the most overpowered move in the game. I think that if you have any questions about what ability you want to actively avoid in this game, it's going to be Vortex. Holy shit, that stuff is powerful. Don't be afraid to kite back and take cover in your Pyromancer. You absolutely are not the tanky class. I am showcasing that ability to backpedal, run away from the action right about now. I'm so happy with the way the challenge worked out in this game. I was very concerned that you would just be brokenly overpowered and raffle stomping enemies just like you were in the demo, but that is absolutely not the case. You are very much rewarded for playing strategically. This is going to be the final bit of gameplay from the First City area before we move on to the beautiful snowy Eagles Peak location, which I featured a clip of in the beginning of this video. This is another area where I died a lot. Yeah, very, very, very challenging. I really struggled with this part, and I would just suggest to take your time if you're playing solo, especially in a squishy character. There's absolutely no sense of YOLOing in here and getting melted from 16 different angles. There's snipers, there's a million riflemen, and a very, very seriously heavily armored captain. Ideally, in solo play with the Pyromancer, I'd love to have a sniper rifle or an automatic sniper rifle as my secondary for longer range engagements, particularly when I'm getting absolutely melted to all hell and I want to pop off shots from a safe distance. But I hadn't found a relevant one up until this point, so I'm cursed with a stupid LMG that I'm never going to use because it's a piece of trash, and this double gun that I still really am enjoying using. It's so cool how you can see every time I kick in the volcanic rounds how things just absolutely melt right away. There's no issues when those are active. You just chew through opponents so quickly. Even though my gun at this point is unupgraded, I haven't unlocked the crafting just yet, so it's still under leveled, and the damage is very mediocre at best. When the volcanic rounds are active and you got 80 rounds to go fuck yourself, you feel the pain, and so does the enemy. The combination of all of these skills so far I've utilized on the Pyromancer feels so rewarding when you make it work, even more so than in the demo. The volcanic rounds combined with thermal bomb just absolutely shred, and I just cannot get over it. Really looking forward to sweating it out after this video goes up so I can see if I can get to a really high world tier. Cannot wait to see how much health the enemies have. Even right here at a lower world tier, this boss with all of his armor is so incredibly tanky. Even with my volcanic rounds and all of my abilities, this guy is just a pure bullet sponge. It is amazing to see that the captains get even more difficulties and more abilities as you progress further into the game. The full armor on them protecting their heads and every part of their body really makes it so you should be looking out for at least one weapon that had decent armor pierce on it. Don't forget to keep your eyes on the mini-map occasionally. The number of ads per captain and per area is absolutely ridiculous and can at times be completely overwhelming, which is why there's no shame in hiding in a little cutout room like this to make sure you can nurse your boo-boos back to full health and get all your abilities back off of cooldown. After we clear out this room, we are going to move on to the beautiful Eagles Peak. Love the snow. I really like the change in environment. And right away, we're starting to see more of the variation in enemies. Hadn't seen too many of these toxic sort of dog things spitting their venom from across the map at us. They're pretty difficult, and you got to make sure to try to get some healing in to stop that toxic. Right here, I was pretty impressed by the ridiculous wingspan of this thing. I kind of thought it'd be friendly, to be honest with you. I thought maybe we'd hang out, but he obviously wasn't feeling that as he chunked down 70% of my health in one go. Feeling a little upset. I'm going to attack back here. Not even sure why this thing wants to mess with me. I was just going to casually walk by. You drew first blood. Put that thing down. And the cool part of these guys are basically loot pinatas with the crafting materials. How much leather is that? 150. Oh, another one. What's up, guy? Well, as we saw from the first one, we can easily handle these. These are not a problem whatsoever. And now there's two at the same time. This is becoming a bit more of a problem. Getting a little bit uncomfortable in the situation we find ourselves in right now. So what do we do when we're getting hurt in the Pyromancer? That's right. We choose to tactically disengage, or as I like to call it, run away like a coward. Gonna try to leave this area of the map, and the game is not into it. Don't lead enemies to your allies. My allies, they're not even helping me right now. I'm fighting these two prehistoric gigantic mastodonic birds here. Where's my backup, boys? Oh yeah, that's right. They're safely hiding in the comfort of their base, getting the warmth from the campfire while I make my way up this insanely steep mountain on my effort to find some sort of giant volcano thing that might have a gigantic fucking spider. Perfect. I hope we don't have to fight that later, he said as he has to fight it later. Perfect. Oh what did I get myself into here? This is the first major boss fight we've had in this game. Doper than anything we had in the demo. No goss here, ladies and gentlemen. This is some sort of giant arachnid face sucker thing, and it has a lot of health and a lot of different abilities to throw at you. Got to make sure you watch out for all of the different moves. Gonna get that nice handy blue indicator of, yo bro, there's an attack coming right to where you're standing. The Molten Ikari has 3 different phases, the first one being the easiest, obviously. The second one is going to be better in the sense that you have an easier shot on the criticals on his booty, but he also has an incredible YOLO ability that I found pretty hard to dodge at times. He's going to come flying right for your butt and make it as difficult as possible for you to get out of the way, where he crushes you with his appendages, I guess? Yeah, let's go with appendages. Eventually, this large sir or madame or whatever gender of its own choosing it is will get upset and turn into a regular tarantula that will spew its butt juice all over your face. I didn't find that it did a lot of damage, and I thought it was pretty easy to avoid, but I don't think my brain liked the fact that I was being spewed spider butt poop all over my mouth. For the final phase, the Ikari is going to turn into some sort of demon hellspawn phallic object with a lot of critical spots for you to pump out massive damage into. He don't know if he actually is attacking you directly so much, more as he's eroding the map underneath you to expose a bunch of volcanic lava that you do not want to stand in. It will melt you incredibly quickly, so you got to try to play avoid the lava, or the floor is lava. But just like in the history of every other looter shooter in the history of gaming, you shoot this thing enough and it's going to turn into a sweet, sweet loot pinata, pooping out your loots and making you win the grand prize of hopefully a purple or better object. And this brings us to the final guy that I wanted to showcase. I haven't wanted to kill an enemy in any game as badly as this guy for probably the last decade. Super annoying, and suffice to say, it'll bring me great joy when we shoot that stupid mask off his face and maybe even get to wear it later. After chewing through a ton of the cult leader's homies, we are going to find ourselves in some sort of weird cavern where he's just surrounded by bad guys. Fortunately, smart enough to group up together for strength, ensuring that my thermal bomb is able to detonate in one shot every single one of them, and granting me enough time to harvest these materials in the middle of a boss fight. Don't worry, it's okay. He doesn't even see us. He's sort of like a velociraptor or a T-Rex. Vision is based solely on movement. If Jurassic Park taught me anything, pretending to not exist while harvesting materials is the best way to avoid any sort of conflict. At this point, I need to call out the fact that I did receive the dopest purple gun I've gotten in the game. It's a super sick auto shotty with the bonus ability to instantly reload all of my weapons while I dodge roll with the shotgun equipped. It is insanely cool, and even after it becomes irrelevant by leveling up and not doing a lot of damage, I'm still going to keep it on my weapon swap so I can dump it out and reload that and my primary gun as well. Chewing through this guy for the last time here, going to stand and trade. Thank you very much, buddy. Rip. This is going to bring us to the final section of the main campaign that we're going to show in this video. Oh, did you see that? Oh, look at the minimap. What's on the minimap there? I don't even know. I'm trying to check it out. What is that? Oh, it's a purple star. A purple piece of gear. The first purple I've ever seen fall in the game. Pretty enthused on that. Not sure what I'd get, but I'm going to safely get it from cover here and then take a look at my wear. After inspecting my sweet purple loot, going to go back into the action here. I ended up getting perfect gloves that had a mod I'd never seen before, which added 20% firepower to any enemy that is afflicted with burn. As you can imagine on the Pyromancer, this is pretty much a god tier mod, and I was extremely pumped to get that sweet, sweet RNG coming in. These two ironclads here are absolutely getting melted by the volcanic rounds. Absolutely not the last time we will see ironclads. They're all over this section of the map, which is why I really can't recommend enough having armor pierce on your weapons. Pyromancer volcanic rounds do enough bonus damage to compensate for that, but I believe if I didn't have that, or twisted rounds or toxic rounds, these ironclads would be super difficult to take down. Really enjoying the synergy on this Pyromancer build. The ability to have some sustain with your different abilities. Absolute raw damage output you can put with the volcanic rounds after triggering your explosive skills, especially thermal bomb, is just ridiculous. And the fact that you can craft weapons that make it so you can pick and choose whatever mod you want, meaning my gear will have all bonuses to thermal bomb, is just amazing. Look how fast this shotgun is absolutely melting this ironclad. Plus I get the ability to reload when I dodge roll if I actually do it, correctly. Means that all these guys stand no chance and I just have a permanent stream of bullets. The biggest weakness of the auto shotgun is absolutely how long the reload is and how quickly you pump out the rounds. But when you can just dodge roll to reload your weapon, it's just so amazing, and it just really makes you feel like some sort of deity. Combinations of the captains with the ironclads makes a very unique set of challenges. But fortunately, after you get rid of all the ads and you're just mano y mano, it's a much more manageable situation. They are really, really not fond of being shot repeatedly over and over in the face, I tell you, especially with the volcanic rounds. You can see the tankiness, though. Even with the volcanic rounds, this guy has so much health, really just soaking all those bullets to the face, but it's not going to last. Last bit of gameplay here before I showcase the crafting information as well as the skills and class setup I've running and how I recommend specking out your pyro. These areas with multiple ironclads, captains, breachers, the sprinter dudes, I can't think of the name of at the moment, with the swords, and the regular riflemen are always super intense. Definitely try to focus the weaker guys first, and then you have plenty of time to chew through the bigger, heavily armored guys with all of your abilities. We're about done with the gameplay here. This turned out to be so much longer than I had anticipated, but after we kill this guy, let me just quickly go over the crafting stuff. Wanted to go over how I put my ability points in at level 14. It's pretty true to the Tempest tree that I had suggested earlier. It's going to be all max anomaly power everything, with the emphasis on the two skills that I've highlighted so far being with fire and rifle, which is going to temporarily buff your weapon firepower after activating an explosive skill, especially thermal bomb, baby. And then one above it, which is wildfire, which buffs your cooldowns for all of your abilities by 10%. focusing on anomaly power and nothing into resistance, defense, or reducing damage. 3 skills I've been using have been Feed the Flame, Volcanic Rounds, and Thermal Bombs. I did unlock Ash Blast, but it's not that great for playing solo. It's more of a crowd control move when you're playing with your friends. It does not give you any health back. Crafting is really easy. You're just going to find this gentleman. He follows you around to your base camps after you rescue him. You're going to want to pick an item that you want to mess with, and you can impact the item levels. You can level it up to the max level your character is. You can level up the attributes. So for this instance, it's max health. And the second stat on armor, for this one, it's status power. Super, super, super expensive to level up. So I actually was not able to do any of the tier 2 armor mods. But the cool thing is you can change out the mod for your skills on any of your gear. Tier 1 is very, very cheap. It's only leather. If you played the demo at all, you should have ample in order to change whatever you like. These purple gloves I got are the ones I was talking about earlier. Very cool, but I don't care about that first mod at all. It's not for me. I want to have a badass boost to my thermal bomb. So all I gotta do is find the one I'm looking for, pick it, and it's gonna, again, be cheap to upgrade, only using some leather, which I have plenty of. The tier 2 attribute on these gloves is pretty much impossible for me to do anything with. I don't have any of the special mats needed to upgrade tier 2 abilities. Unless you farmed a ton of legendaries in the demo, I don't think most people are going to be able to do this. And this is going to apply for weapons as well. Same sort of concept. You can mess with all the mods that you have unlocked in the past. But again, tier 2 mods are very, very expensive, and tier 3 mods, I mean, not quite there yet. All right, this turned out to be the longest video I've ever uploaded to YouTube. Perfect. Hope you enjoyed it. If you stuck around this time, you probably did, or you're AFK. Either way, feel free to drop a sub, leave a like, leave a comment. My next goal is to get to as high world tier as possible and showcase the craziness. All right, thanks so much. We out.